So this is Mackenzie Fields. Hi. And I'm going to be interviewing her. She is an upcoming artist breaking into business. Okay. So what made you want to get into comics or to begin with?
I've always really enjoyed comics and sequential art ever since I was little. I did a lot of reading my uncle's old Transformers comics, the original ones. It wasn't until I was around mid-high school age, I became a victim of sexual assault. And when that happened, I needed a way to cope with what had happened to me. And so, with my anxiety disorder that had come about because of that, I needed an outlet, and comics and sequential art became that outlet.
That's awesome. I mean, terrible, but awesome. I love your earrings, by the way.
Thank you.
How did you get started? Like, what was the first thing you did?
I did a photo comic on some Transformers fanboards. The very first sort of official comic thing that I ever did, which was you would have your Transformers figures and you would take pictures of them and then pose them and put it in through an art program, add speech bubbles or text, and you'd make a comic out of it. And after I started doing that for a while, I started drawing my own. I started doing Pokemon comics, and eventually started up my webcomic during my sophomore year of college.
That's awesome. Hold it like right here. Okay.
Jada,
what?
really? I don't know how to do anything.
You
This
really?
man's in this guy's dash. Okay, that's better.
Alright. So, what kind of like roadblocks and struggles have you run into?
A lot of struggles is just making yourself do the comic. All through high school, there was always an original idea that I wanted to do. And I kept putting it off because I kept thinking to myself, no, I'm not good enough. My idea isn't good enough.
Been a ball day.
I need to do this or this or this or that to finish preparing to make a comic, when what I really needed to do the entire time was just go ahead and make it. And it really is going through that first few pages and getting into the habit of, yes, you have to draw your backgrounds, yes, you have to draw your characters. It's what you need to do to really get into the habit of making comics.
Thank you. How did you come up with your first ideas?
My first ideas, I did a lot of fan art and fan comics and things like that. I would latch on to characters who already existed and do a lot of my own stories based on those characters. And eventually it came to the point where I started really thinking about comics as a career. And because of that, I wanted to start branching out to my own original ideas. So I took a lot of the things I already enjoyed, especially in characters that I enjoyed, and then took the things that I really enjoyed from those characters, whether it was their personalities, their goals, their struggles, and started giving them a new face and mashing all of these favorite things from all these different characters into their own new people that I started doing my stories about.
That's awesome. Obviously, it's gotten you somewhere. You're really good.
Thank you.
What were some of your favorite comics growing up?
See, there's definitely the original 80s Transformers comics. I would go over to my grandmother's house where my uncle was staying, and he had a big box of them from his childhood, and I would just take issue after issue and just devour them. Aside from that, I really liked more recently the Ghost Rider series that Trad Moore illustrated, specifically the Trad Moore issues. I really like Amulet by Kazuki Buishi. He's my favorite illustrator of all time. Watchmen, I like the Mouse series. It's very, very moving and just excellent by Art Spiegelman.
I've heard of that.
There's so many good comics out there, but those are the ones that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Yeah. What are you currently working on?
I am currently working on the second issue of Friend Quest. My first issue is already out. It's currently a webcomic series that I'm updating a page a week online. Aside from that, I'm doing a lot of things outside of just the comic, but are still connected with that main comic universe. For example, the second anniversary of my webcomic is coming up on September 20th. And
Congratulations!
Thank you. And I have a very special announcement for that I'll actually tell you a little bit early. I'm producing a video game that's based in the same universe as the webcomic series, and I'll have a playable demo out by December of 2016.
That is awesome. I will have to play that.
Yeah, it'll be, my goal is to have it free online. It'll be a PC game.
Mm-hmm.
You can either find the demo on Game Jolt, or if things go to plan, on Steam.
Awesome. I'll have to look those up.
Yeah.
I'll have to start looking up that actually comic. It looks pretty awesome too.
Thank you.
What are your future plans? Like big thoughts?
Big future plans. Currently, I run Ghostly Muse Comics as an LLC, which is how I am producing and self-publishing my works. I would like to bring other people under the Ghostly Muse Comics name. Maybe help other people who are just starting out and want a sort of brand or a label to help identify themselves under and take them under my wing. It is a very new business that I'm working on, and I am going through a lot of these things on my own. So being able to bring on more people would be a really awesome thing to do. Otherwise, I'd like to do freelance work, continue working on my comic. I have a lot of interest in tabletop games and RPGs and video game development. So if I were to get a job in one of those, or character design, I would be very, very happy with that. But the big dream is to support myself on my original comics work.
That's awesome, and you've done a whole lot.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
If you really want to do comics, start now. I don't care how good you think you are or how bad you think you are. Start it, because the amount of improvement you will see after starting it and then going for a year is phenomenal. You need to start as soon as possible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.